everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about my pregnancy, specifically what I have experienced so far, but most importantly, how this pregnancy has taken me back to my Amish roots. Like, it's been crazy. I have been craving stuff that is from the Amish culture, but I completely forgot about them until this pregnancy, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm craving this. But I'm like, that's weird. I haven't thought about this specific thing for like almost 8 years. So it's been a roller coaster, and it's also been very interesting how something like this can take you back. In your brain, everything, it takes you back to your roots. And I'm not just talking about the lifestyle that I have right now. I'm not only talking about food stuff, I'm talking about just in general, the Amish life. And even dreams. Like my dreams, when I first found out that I was pregnant, my dreams about back home were crazy. It used to be almost every single night, and they would be so vivid. Like, I would dream about my family, my siblings. It was just crazy. They were not always good dreams. Sometimes it was really bad dreams, and they were so vivid that I would wake up and I would just be hella scared. Some of them were really good dreams though. And I actually just had one last night. It wasn't the best dream, but I'm only gonna share a specific part of it that I think will relate directly to this video. So yeah, it's definitely been a roller coaster. Probably one of the first cravings that I had was gummy soup. And if you don't know what gummy soup is, it directly translates over into church soup. So basically it's the type of soup that we had every Sunday at church services for lunch. Every single time. You don't make anything else. It's always that soup. And basically it's just made of, at home we used to call them navy beans, but here if you get them at the store, they're called Northern beans. So navy beans, butter, lots of butter, and milk, and then dry bread. Yes, dry bread. You basically just, you pull it apart. We used to like cut it into like slices. Not slices, because it's like smaller than slices. You just basically just cut the loaf apart any which way you want, but pieces can be like this big or smaller than that. It doesn't really matter, but just definitely not a whole, you definitely don't want a whole slice of bread in there. But then you let it dry, and then obviously your salt and peppers and stuff. But I'll have to make it sometime in a video and then share the recipe with you guys as well, because I'm actually curious how many of you guys would actually like that soup. I love it, but I hardly ever crave it. But during this pregnancy, I've probably ate it more than I have in the last 7 years. But Tawi does not like it. He does not like it at all. Which I know if you didn't grow up with it, there's a big chance that you won't like it. However, I do know that some of my siblings were not the biggest fans of it at all. But then on top of that, I also crave the pickled red beets, which is weird because one of the things that we served with the church soup, gummy soup, whatever you want to call it, was pickled red beets. And they were so good, but I don't usually crave them. But I definitely have had cravings for them during this pregnancy. It's just like small things like that, like you haven't thought about it in years, and then all at once you just really want that. But another thing that I started doing a lot during this pregnancy is I started baking bread again. I saved a recipe from Instagram like last spring, I think. It was posted by one of the other Amish girls on Instagram, and I decided, you know what, let me try it, because the bread recipe that I had, it was just very hit or miss. Like, you had to be so careful for it to actually come out the way you wanted it to, and it just wasn't it. So I saved that recipe, and I was planning to make this because I had just come back from the deployment. So when you're deployed, you don't have access to stoves or ovens or anything like that. So I don't know, I just really wanted to cook and bake and all that stuff. But when I got back, I got distracted with a whole bunch of other things that I wasn't allowed to do on deployment that I now wanted to do. So I kept doing that, and I actually didn't get any of the baking done that I wanted to do. But then when I got pregnant, guess what I did? I started baking. And I feel like for the last 2 to 3 months, something like that, we've had homemade bread to where we haven't been buying bread from the store. So that has been nice. And Tawi has been enjoying it a lot because he's a big bread person. He loves bread. I usually didn't really care for it, but now that I guess since I'm carrying his child, I like bread too. I don't know what else it is, but I've definitely eaten way more bread in the last 6-7 months than I have probably in the last 7 years. But it's been nice, and I actually have bread in the oven right now that I have to keep watching because we don't want to burn it. Watch me be so busy with this video that I forget to watch my bread and it burns. I'm gonna be so disappointed if that happens. So let's get this done. Let's stop getting sidetracked so that I don't burn my bread. And also I'll be sure to share the bread recipe with you guys in the future. I think it was like a month or so ago, one of my coworkers mentioned that he was craving chocolate fudge from the Amish market. I was like, ooh, that sounds really good. Now I want chocolate fudge too. So I looked up the recipe and I was like, you know what? I think I have the exact ingredients that I need right now in my house to make these. So when I got home, I checked and yes. But it wasn't just that. I had the exact amount of stuff that I needed. And the ingredients, they aren't just ingredients that I have a lot in the house. They're not normal ingredients for stuff. So the fact that I had the exact right ingredients in the exact amount that I needed, come on, that was a sign that I needed to make chocolate fudge. Also, I wanted to eat it. But yeah, it took me about 30 minutes. That's it. And I had chocolate fudge. And I took it to work the next morning because Tawi doesn't like sweets like that. So if I hadn't, I would have been stuck eating all that fudge by myself. And I definitely did not need all that fudge. But yeah, I took it to work and my coworkers enjoyed it. It's just small things like that. This pregnancy specifically has reminded me so much of stuff that I used to have or do or eat back home that I don't anymore. And I don't know, I just wanted to do more of that stuff. So that has been nice. And reading has been one of the things too. At home, I used to be such a big bookworm. Like, I was so into books at home that if I didn't have anything else, you would catch me reading the dictionary or the encyclopedias and stuff like that. That's how bad it got. Not that it's a bad thing to read the encyclopedia or the dictionary because you learn a lot. And I definitely learned a lot from them. But that's just how scarce the books were. I didn't have enough books to keep me occupied. And we couldn't go to the library because... that's a good question. Why can't we? Because I know that my cousins could go to the library and get books and then take them back. I don't really know. But we weren't allowed to go to the library. I think we did make a trip to the library every now, like maybe once or twice. But obviously it would have been when my parents didn't know about it. But you guys were sneaking out to go to parties while we were sneaking out to go to the library. But yeah, other than baking, I've also been very much into cooking. Whether it's trying out new recipes or just making out recipes in my head and I'm like, oh, that sounds so good. Or recipes from back home. There's one specific thing that I remember that I made. It was so good, but I came up with this like in the beginning of my pregnancy. I think it was the first trimester. I decided I wanted to make burrito taco style brisket. So a brisket that the meat is like similar to the meat that is in burrito tacos. I can't even say that word correctly. And it was so good. And honestly, now that I think about it, I could have just finished it and made it into burrito tacos. That would have been really good. It was really good with just the brisket. Don't get me wrong. It was absolutely amazing with just the brisket. But what if I would have made it into tacos? Because you cannot go wrong on burrito tacos. But also another thing that I haven't noticed until the day was sewing. I'm feeling like sewing. Now, obviously, I'm not gonna start making all of our clothes at home like we used to back home, but I don't know. I had a dream last night. That's what it was, and I dreamed of making bibs, like the baby's bib cloths, the way we used to at home. In my dream, I was doing that. Obviously, I woke up and we still didn't have enough bibs, but it was just interesting that my dream went that far back into sewing, which I do have a sewing machine and I do enjoy sewing. It's just, I don't know that I will ever actually sew our own clothes. I mean, I patch them up sometimes. Like, let's say the seams come loose, I will take care of that and I will fix that. And buttons, if the buttons come off and stuff like that, obviously I will fix that. But actually, specifically, making myself or Tawi or the baby a piece of clothes, just like myself cutting the material and then sewing it, that's, ugh, I don't trust myself to do that anymore. I don't trust myself. It's been over 7 years. Oof, I don't know if I will be able to do that. It would be nice though, because this baby definitely needs more clothes, but I feel like that would be risky. That they actually fit. But anyway, that is everything for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you do want me to show you guys how to make church soup, gmei soup, whatever you guys want to call it now. You can call it church soup, gmei soup, or bean soup for all I care. I will eat either one of those. I will know what you're talking about. But if you guys want me to make that sometime on a video and then give you guys the recipe, let me know. Because it would be interesting to see how many of you guys would actually like it. But you guys have a good day. It's almost getting too dark. As you guys can see, I can see my shadow now. So it's time to put an end to this. And you guys have a... And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to hear more of my story. And also follow me on TikTok at IdaMachiva1 and on Instagram at IdaChooseHappiness. I will be posting videos and answering some questions on both of those platforms.